Hey everybody, and welcome to Meals with Melissa, where we come up with really great healthy options for things that you love to eat. Now, I've really kind of thought about the process of our country and how we've really gotten away from cooking our own food. And while I understand that, because we're so busy, it really is important that we take good care of ourselves. And it makes a difference if we are cooking our own food because one, we know what's in it, and number two, we can actually eat a lot healthier options. Plus, actually, it saves money. But I know that things get a little crazy, so I really try to keep these recipes as simple as possible. Number one, because I don't do complicated, but this is probably one of my all-time favorite kind of goodies. And I used to look at this as being super, super healthy no matter how you kind of made it, because, right, yogurt and fruit, right, that should be really healthy. The problem is, with all the low-fat yogurts, they have to have some flavor somehow. So what happens is they add a lot of sugar. And sugar, of course, spikes insulin, and that's where we have a problem. So today, we're gonna make yogurt parfaits in the most low sugar possible form that I could come up with, honestly. But, I love it. I love the textures. I love the little crunch in there. And so we're gonna do this in a super easy way. Things are already ready to go here. We are adding one little recipe, and I'll show you that in just a second, from a former recipe we've done before. But let's just tell you kind of what's in this little parfait that we're doing here. Because honestly, there's been times in the past where I've picked it up, looked at the sugar content of that yogurt parfait. Usually it comes in the form of, like I said, sugars in the yogurt, but then there's also sometimes the fruits get combined with some sugar to intensify the flavors and the sweetness. So what we're using today is we are using the lowest sugar yogurt that so far I've been able to come up with that doesn't contain sucralose or some really, nasty artificial sweeteners. So far, I love the Too Good yogurt. Now, we find those actually locally at a lot of the grocery stores now that, it's kind of become popular. But what I love about it is that there's only 2 grams of sugar per container, and the sweetener is actually stevia and not sucralose. So if you are using a lot of Splenda or sucralose, the problem being is that although it is a 0-calorie, non-nutritive sweetener, that's kind of baloney because there's actually calories in it. They're just following a loophole where if it's under 0.5 grams of sugar per serving size, they don't have to include it. So again, it does spike insulin. It's been proven. It does affect blood sugar. So I like this. Now, until I come up with another option, this is what we tend to use at my household. We consistently look for good new options. I just saw something posted on TV the other day that was a new one that I might have to go check out and find, but for now this works. Now I have the strawberry one. They do make vanilla, they do make peach, depends on what flavor. I honestly just like vanilla because then I can add different flavors and it works, but this is just what I grabbed. So I have the strawberry Too Good yogurt, which we're gonna whip up just a little bit so it's a little fluffier and not quite so dense as it is when you open it. So I'm gonna mix that up just a little bit. And then I have some fresh raspberries because honestly that's my favorite fruit right now and I can still get it fresh. Once that becomes really hard to get, then we'll switch to something else. You could also use frozen fruit, but I don't know if I'd want it frozen in my parfait. So I've got some fresh raspberries. I also have some grain-free, low-sugar granola. Now, again, I'll include the recipe for this down below, but it's super good and it tastes a little bit sweet because I have included a little bit of stevia. Now, the original recipe actually requested pure, but I don't love the fact that some of the extra ingredients like the erythritol really doesn't, it makes me gassy. I'll just be honest. It just makes me gassy and I don't like how that feels. So I tend to use some liquid stevia or stevia glycerite. So that is my granola. And really, I have kind of a modified version today. It's just coconut, some sliced almonds, some chia seeds, and I think there's something else in there, but I'll have to go back and look. But really, that's all it is it's nuts and some seeds, coconut, and a little bit of cinnamon, vanilla, and a little bit of liquid stevia is what I use this time around. So it gives it a little bit of a crunch. So I'm going to start with just a regular glass jar. My family likes to make stuff like this all the time, especially over the holidays. We'll put some things together, but I'm going to put a little bit of that in the bottom because I want some crunch. And then I'm going to add some of the fresh berries. Like I said, it can be any berries you want. Blueberries are great. Blueberries are high in fiber and antioxidants, so that's a great option. So I'm going to put a few berries in the bottom, and then I'm going to add some of the yogurt on top. And honestly, it just starts to look super pretty as you layer everything. So if you're making something for a brunch or for friends that want to come over and you just want a healthier option, Why not? I do like the Greek yogurt option because it does contain more protein. And of course, most people aren't getting enough protein. And protein is a highly thermogenic nutrient, which means your body has to heat up to break it down. So not a bad option. So I've got one of each layer there. Now I'm gonna add another layer of the granola. It smells so good. I have a hard time keeping my hands out of that. And if you've looked at the stores and paid any attention, one of the most important things you can learn to do is read not just the nutrition label on the back of products, but you need to learn to read the ingredient list. Because unfortunately, that nutrition label does not give you enough information. It doesn't tell you where the sugars are coming from, sometimes they hide those sugars because they list all the different types of sugar it includes in its own ingredients. So you might see, some sucrose plus corn syrup solids plus agave plus maple syrup. Those are all sugars, and those can actually add up and be a problem. Okay, so I add another layer of the granola. I'm gonna put another layer of my fresh berries. I just wanna eat this right now, not gonna lie. Okay, and then another layer of yogurt. Now, of course, if you're making multiples of these for your family, you're gonna have to have, I have not seen this sold in a larger container, unfortunately. But maybe if we start requesting it, they'll listen. Who knows? Supply and demand, right? Okay, so I'm gonna top that with just a sprinkle more of the granola and a couple of fresh berries. And that's really all there is to it. It's super, super yummy. You get all those textures in it. It's a much, much healthier option, low in sugar. And really the sugars are coming from a little bit of the yogurt, because like I said, 2 grams, and then the fresh berries. And that's a better option than coming from Twinkies, right? So beautiful, easy to make. Like I said, I'll include the recipe for the granola as well. Tell me if you make these things. I'm really interested to see which things work for you. I've had a few where the family is like, meh, that wasn't really a great option. It was okay, but And then we've had some pure winners, and we keep those recipes and we make them again and again over time because they work well and they're healthier even for my youngest. So great option. Yeah, and that's it. That's how easy that is. So have an incredible weekend, you guys. If you have a great recipe you'd like to share, make sure that it's simple. Anything that's more than 6 or 7 ingredients, probably not going to get made a lot at my house. But I get my very best ideas from you. This is just a great way to share what works for us. And if it works for you, great, I want to know. And if something else works better, let's talk about it. Have an incredible day, you guys. And until next week, that is Meals with Melissa. Have a great one.